It was a stormy night over the rocks and ruins of the abandoned capital of the once powerful kingdom of Tibet. The work of man and the work of nature has become almost indistinguishable. The great temple was filled with darkness and silence. Only from the golden face of the Buddha, a soft light seemed to radiate. Suddenly, a tremor shook the walls of the temple. A huge crack appeared by the side of the goddess Tara, almost touching one of the flowers flanking her beautiful throne. The spirit who inhabited this flower rushed out in fear. "Oh, save us. Save the sacred place from destruction." Tara looked with merciful eyes and asked, "Who art thou, little spirit?" "I am the spirit of beauty living in this flower by your side." Tara smiled her motherly smile and, pointing to the other side of the temple, replied, "Thus shall ye think of all this fleeting world, a flickering lamp, a phantom, and a dream." The spirit of beauty had tears in his eyes. Oh, how true are these words, how true. Yes, we are all in a great dream. If only we would linger a little in these our dream forms, until our message can be handed on to those who are able to spread it for the benefit of all living beings. Om tare tu re mamayu pune jana put guru so. Om tare. Tara raised her hand in a tender attitude of blessing. The spirit of beauty has spoken the truth and his heart is sincere. And how could it be otherwise? Is not beauty the greatest messenger of truth? Thy wish shall be granted, spirit of beauty. Thy form as well as others inhabiting this temple shall not perish until their message has been delivered to the world, their sacred purpose fulfilled. Om tare tu re mamayu pune jana put guru so. One day, a herdsman in search of new grazing grounds had lost his way when he heard the rhythmic beats of a damru. At first, he did not believe his ears because he could not imagine that any human being could exist in this forbidding place. Torn between fear and curiosity, he followed the sound, as if drawn by the irresistible force of a magnet. And soon he saw the figure of a hermit seated before a cave, his face serene, lit up with the fire of inspiration and devotion. The herdsman immediately lost all fear and approached the Lama and asked for his blessing. When the hermit's hand touched the crown of his head, he was filled with such unspeakable peace and happiness that he hurried down into the valley to bring the happy news of his discovery to the people there. The hermit knew that the hour had come for him to return to the world of men, and true to his bodhisattva vow, he renounced the bliss of solitude for the benefit of many. The first time I set eyes on the sacred land of Tibet, I knew that from now on I would follow the way of the white clouds into this enchanted land of my Guru, to learn more of its wisdom and to find inspiration in the immense peace and beauty of its nature. I had been given the privilege of being allowed to live in a corner of the temple. During the night, Maitreya's golden face reflected the mellow light of the eternal lamp. Whenever I happened to wake up, I beheld the benign features of his softly radiating golden face, and I felt his glance resting upon me with infinite tenderness. A strange shuffling sound woke me. I saw the slowly moving dark figure of an old man in the open space before the altar. I recognized him as the venerable old monk who lived in a small room flanking the porch that formed the entrance of the temple. In spite of his old age, I never saw him unoccupied. Whether he would glide about the temple on 2 square pieces of felt in order to keep the floor polished, or whether he would attend to the hundreds of butter lamps, water bowls and other altar vessels which had to be kept clean and shining and filled with their various ingredients. Ever was he busy in the service of the temple or in the performance of his spiritual duties, reading the sacred texts, reciting prayers for the welfare of all living beings, and performing the daily rituals for their protection and well-being. His devotion and his utter humility prepared my mind for the meeting with my Guru. Under his kindly guidance, I soon learned to become conscious of many small things. I learned how to unwrap and handle a sacred book, treating it with the respect due to the embodiment of wisdom. I learned how to move about within the precincts of the monastery, always in the direction in which the planets move around the sun, signifying that one should always feel oneself in the presence of the Buddha. He would share with me his beloved buttered tea, which was simmering the whole day long on his little charcoal stove. He looked after my welfare as if I was his own son. From the early morning, I noticed an uncommon stir in the monastery, whose population suddenly seemed to have doubled or trebled. I did not know from where all these monks whom I had never seen before had come. Suddenly the doors of the temple swung wide open, and my guru, flanked by 2 lamas in full ornate and high ceremonial hats, entered the temple. Great was my joy to find before my very eyes the living embodiment of those far-off ideals, a man who impressed all those who came in touch with him, not merely by his learning but by his presence. A guru is far more than a teacher in the ordinary sense of the word. A teacher gives knowledge, but a guru gives himself. The term chela means not just an ordinary pupil, but a disciple who has established a profound spiritual relationship with the Guru, a relationship that is founded on the act of initiation. On the day my Guru formally accepted me as his chela, he said, "If you wish me to be your Guru, do not look upon my person as the Guru. Remember that every being carries within itself the spark of the Buddha."
दाया हाथ में हमारे तिप्सी का विस्टम होता है और दूसरा हाथ में जो पढ़ने का वो मेथड होता है.
Classroom studies only we don't use our mind, but what teacher say is what we have to listen, and over here we have to use our mind and then focus on it, and it makes our mind sharp.
Tibetan ritual music is built upon the deepest vibrations that an instrument or a human voice can produce. Sounds that seem to come from the womb of the earth or from the depth of space like rolling thunder. The mantric sound of nature which symbolizes the creative vibrations of the universe, the origin of all things. The turning of the wheel of dharma is known to every Buddhist. In turning the prayer wheel, we become conscious of the supreme law which the Buddha proclaimed when he set the wheel of dharma in motion rolling 2500 years ago. For the Buddhist, every single being that strives for enlightenment must repeat this act by realizing it in his own mind. The moment we become conscious of the Buddha as the light in our innermost being, the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum begins to reveal its meaning, because now the lotus, Padma, is our own heart, in which the jewel, Mani, namely the Buddha, is present. Some inexplicable force seemed to hold me here, and the longer I stayed in this magic world, the more I felt that a hitherto unknown reality was revealed to me, and that I was on the threshold of a new life.
Sache